You join me here on a cold December day. It's about 3 degrees, but it actually feels quite warm considering how cold it's been recently. It's going to be dark. It's about 3:30. It's going to be dark in about 15 minutes or so. So I thought I'd sneak in end of term review overview of my Kinesis GF tie disc. So firstly, if we go through the specification that I run, so I've got Ultegra 6800 rear mech running Ultegra 1128 cassette, Ultegra chain. It's got Ultegra front mech and Ultegra crankset, old set of Ultegra pedals, but I've switched to AbsoluteBlack oversized chainrings. So these are 50-34, and the reason I switched to those is I used to suffer from cramp quite a bit, and since switching to them I haven't suffered from any at all, even rides over 100 miles. And actually it creates a super efficient pedal stroke, and the change up from small to big ring is actually better than the original Ultegra chainrings. Around the other side there's quite big ramps helping that chain get up. It's running Ultegra, the non-series, the 685 levers. These are fine, you know, plenty of feel, but they're pretty big, so unless you've got big hands, then you might find these actually to be quite large compared to normal Ultegra. I was running the 805 calipers, but both front and rear seized, and they were actually spilling brake fluid onto the pads, so I was getting absolutely no stopping power, huge amounts of squealing. So I've switched to the brand new RT90 Ultegra calipers. They're the flat mount ones, and a RT99 Ice Tech disc, 160mm at the front and then 140mm at the rear. I can't talk about how they work because literally I've just fitted them, so they haven't been tried at all yet. It's got SKS Chromoplastic mudguards. They're good, they don't really rattle, but they do rub if you're out putting some power out of the saddle, putting some power down. And then I've got DCR wheels, so they're rolling on DCR's own hubs with Sapim CX-ray spokes, and this is DCR's 35mm premium carbon rim. The wheels roll really nicely, so the hubs roll nicely, the rim profile's good, not affected by wind, so it's fairly rounded profile, but the rear hub has created some issues. So I'm now on the third set of bearings, so the first set went after about 800 miles, second after about 2,000, and this is due to water ingress causing corrosion in the bearings. So I do ride through winter in all conditions up here in North Yorkshire, but that's not great for a set of wheels that cost as much as these ones did. It's running Continental Grand Prix 4-season tyres. These are 25mm tyres, I don't think I'd run anything else. I think they're absolutely fantastic. Amazing grip in winter. Durability is okay. They're quite a soft compound, so I get about 3,000 miles out of a rear tyre, probably about 5,000 miles out of a front tyre. And then I've got the Deda Zero100 cockpit, so 100mm stem and 42cm bars centre to centre. They're great, nice and stiff, so if you're pulling on those doing a sprint, they don't flex too much. It's got Deda Superzero carbon seat post, 34.9mm. It's comfortable, it's fine, no problems with that at all. And then I'm running specialised Romin Evo saddle. This is the 155 wide saddle. This is the older model with the tie rails. The new model's very similar, a little bit shorter, and I actually think the new model's more comfortable than this older model. So my other two bikes are running those. Leak bottle cages, they're okay, they're cheap, hold the bottle in, couldn't really ask for much more. And then it's got a Deda dogfang fitted down here just to help prevent any chain off. It's running the Shimano external bottom bracket. These are terrible. They last about 1,000 miles, but then they're only £10, so doesn't cost much to actually replace them. Just a bit of a faff, obviously, continually putting a new one on. Would I recommend this bike? I think I'd have to say no. So in this build spec, this is just over £4,000, which is a huge amount of money. And titanium is supposed to be a bike for life. So I've done about 4,000 miles on this model, but not on this bike. So this frame's actually done 600 miles because the previous one cracked, and it cracked around here where the cables feed in. Completely cracked all the way around here, you know, titanium is supposed to be a bike for life, and at that price, you know, you wouldn't really expect that. It is super comfortable. It's probably the most comfortable bike I've ever ridden, and this is the one I rode the NC500 around Scotland in April in fairly horrific conditions. And if you go to my Instagram page, which is @alifeinlycra, there's some photos and videos of my ride around Scotland earlier this year, and it was really comfortable for that ride, and it was a great companion. But for £4,000, I reckon you could probably get better, not necessarily better, but you could get cheaper and almost as equivalent frame set. Why am I selling this then? Well, I've completely had enough of discs, and I know discs are the future and everybody wants discs and modulation and so on, but for me, I've had nothing but problems with discs. So the tolerances are incredibly tight, so you do get quite a lot of rub, even with the best setup in the world. But I may well have been unlucky, but the number of contaminated pads and how quickly they wear out, and the maintenance and the upkeep, and I think if you've got a decent set of rim brakes with an aluminium rim and maybe some Swiss Stop blue pads and strong hands, I think you're not really going to have any problem stopping in winter. So for me, for the price, would I recommend it? I'd have to say no. So hopefully you've liked this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to my channel, and I'll hopefully in a couple of weeks time be doing a video review of my Bowman Palace R. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye bye.